Hey guys, I'm kind of giddy right now because I'm so excited to show you guys possibly the third best epic for the new guild boss. And it's like one of the worst epics in the entire game. And he's so good. I cannot understate how good he is. He'll help everyone who doesn't have like the most stacked, teams like this with all legendaries and friggin' Carnelian. If you don't have these types of teams, this is going to help you out so much. And I'm so excited to show you guys. So as you can see, we have a bunch of legendaries. There's occasionally a Dolores. I was calling the character the second best because I didn't even think of Dolores, but Medan and Dolores are better because they add more. But the epic I'm talking about is Nazim. You might not have ever expected it, but it's Nazim. Nazim, unironically, is one of the best epics for the new guild boss, because if you didn't know, on the Saw phase, aka the first phase, if you stun it or freeze it, it essentially will take longer to activate, which is obviously a bonus because it does so much damage. And also, when you kind of bring it back, it reduces the boss's damage for that attack. And the reason why Nazim is so insanely good for this boss is because Nazim, fun fact, I guarantee almost none of you knew about this unless you saw a video or something that already was using him. Nazim has the fastest stuns in the game. Like, it's crazy. And the rest of his abilities literally do not matter. He does like a little bit of healing. He puts curse on, which doesn't matter. But the thing is, his stunts are so fast. And his skill cost is about 1,000 when max skilled, which you want to have max skilled. You can put on a Nightmare Samsara to get maximum rage regen, so it'll come back every time the Saw gets out. But the reason why it's so good is because twice a second, so every half second, he summons a magical blade, hits with it, and then after the first 4 hits, or 3 hits when you skill it up, every single hit will instead inflict stun. And the stun is only 0.5 seconds, which is a terrible stun. It's complete garbage in almost every area of the game, except for this one, because the stuns just have to activate. They don't do anything functionally that stuns do. They just lower the attack and make it take longer for the boss to happen. So he's doing 2 stuns a second. It lasts for about functionally 13 seconds because you take a bit to get it to start applying. So he's sending out 26 stuns. The boss can only be stunned 12 times. He's doing more than double that. And then he's lowering his attack to a place where essentially you're never going to die to the first phase ever again. So 33% of the boss is 100% guaranteed, impossible to lose as long as you just click this button when it happens. It's so good. Now, I have Nazim, and I will be showing you guys how to get like 80k blood with my team. My team is not meta at all. I don't have Praetus on this account. I don't have Yovar on this account. I don't have Sulcanins on this account. That's 3 of the 4 meta lords out of the way. So I'm going to show you guys kind of my team. I have the highest blood, or whatever it's called. I have the highest score using Nazim and using no Carnelian. I have one of the highest scores, definitely the highest without the 3 lords I mentioned. And I'm going to kind of explain the team in full. I have Nazim in full morale with tankiness. He has a little bit of attack speed. As you can see, I just made sure I had attack speed and HP wherever I could. And then I just have these HP pieces. I got pretty lucky with the forges on this account. This is AJ's account, thank you to him. And Nazim is the GOAT. He will do no damage at all, but he's just there for that. We're running Soulbound Arcana on everyone. This is more of a display of Nazim, and also I wanted to show my team that I had made when it would have been second in the world when it started. Now it's about first in the world if we were to go back there, but obviously it's around like 32nd by the time of this recording, and I'm pretty proud of it, so I wanted to show it off. Now, there are 4 factions. I will get into the gearing in a second. This is pretty whale, so definitely just think of this as a Nazim showcase, and also because I wanted to show something high. This is whale content, so this is not really a team display, it's just me having fun. But there are 4 really good factions for this that you want to use. By the way, always do Apocalypse 2 first, even if you can only hit the 8k chest, you still want to try to use your best teams. But we want to have Praetus. Arbiter teams are the best by far. It is not close. The reason why Praetus is so good is because the hardest part of this fight is the second phase, and it is the one that we will be losing on right now. And you need either Yovar and Silas, because Silas ignores defense and can actually do full damage, or you need an Arbiter Praetus team. If without the Arbiter Praetus team, Silas is the only thing that works to get over like 80k. I will get around 80k and do my best to do so. But without either of those options, you're essentially going to lose. And, you know, the second phase is really hard. The third phase, you need Carnelian for at high levels. I would die at that if I were to pass this phase I am on. I have Toreador right here, who's the second best faction for this, just because you can have 3 really strong DPS. Arrogance can do about 200 mil plus. Lust can do about 150 mil for me. Definitely more with other gear and other teams. Salazar will do around what Lust is, but Bleed will increase everyone else's damage. Bleed also works really well with Salazar if you're running in... what's it called? If you're running a Piercer team. That's what I meant to say, sorry. Aloin, obviously the best healer here. She cleanses, she rage regens, she does everything really. Her sprites are pretty useless here, but they can help if you want. Pharisee also is the second best healer for this. Definitely not the best healer if you don't have Eloin, but if you have Eloin, Pharisee is the second best healer. Because inspiration does matter, but the real reason why I use Pharisee is because he has this. And his AoE damage reduction, 25%. It's ridiculous. It's necessary. You need it, or you will die, because you're taking such an astronomical amount of damage. Now the healers I have built with kind of this sort of thing. Dolores being the best damage increaser, obviously. Second only to Constance in Arbiter teams. If you don't have an Arbiter team, I do recommend Dolores instead. And she's built with about 24k HP. This is on the lower end. I'm running Scarab because it gives more HP than Keen Wisdom. You want to have as much HP as you can on all of your units. As you can see, Eloin is built with a lot of HP as well. About 42k. She has a max euphoric orb. So does Pharisee, so we are getting pretty good uptime on that. And then we're getting a lot of HP here. We're getting some decent attack. Attack speed doesn't really matter because Eloin will be doing most of the heals. And then we have Toreador, who is also an Invig. You could put Toreador as a DPS, and he will actually do a lot of damage. If you have like 6 Soulbound Arcana sets, you need a lot of Soulbound Arcana for this fight. As you can see, decent defensive stats. He will die eventually, but we're gonna do our best not to have that happen. You could run Astral Obelisk. You could run this sort of thing. I do not permanently. I do preferably use that. I don't know why I was using the other things. And then Soulbound Arcana, you want ideally more attack than anything, and you want to run Soulbound Arcana on everything. I have Realm Tear on him. I have, you know, Lust. I have about 30k on like everyone. She's running Soulbound Arcana as well with her exclusive. We have Salazar and Soulbound Arcana with a lot of HP. He just has high base HP and Scarlet Hunt. I could run more Scarlet Hunts, but none of them are leveled and I don't really care enough. Twin Fiend is pretty good. He only needs 80% crit rate. And then Tear of Twilight. And then Zillitu is the only Infernal Roar, and that's because it's bugged with her to do more damage than it should. She's in pretty good gear with 19k there, almost 30k there, 300% on the bottom, and then she also has Wailing Skull. She will be doing about 250 mil, by far the most on the team. So let's show it off. I'm going to be mostly highlighting Nazim here because that's what this is framed as. But once again, I'm just showing you guys a pretty high score, and definitely a score I'm very proud of. So the placements here are very weird. The main thing this boss that is really confusing to a lot of people is the placements. Placements do not make any sense. So you really have to start placing things down. Don't even worry about the aim big order or anything. Just start placing things, seeing what happens. And eventually you will be able to figure it out. It's very, very, very confusing. And you have to essentially place everything. Make sure that Eloin covers everything. Pharisee covers everything. Dolores covers all of your DPS. And it's a hassle. but it's doable. So here's how I place it with my team. The way I recommend you do it is you look at your platform units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 platform units, which is a little lower than expected. And I can place, 5 platform units down. If you're running 6 platform units, I think you have to place them on this side, although it is a little bit difficult. If you place Element down here, so you can cover this tile, put Pharisee at the top, and then you could run 3 ground units, Torador here, who will only get Element ulted. He won't get healed by Element, but it works. But the way I'm going to be doing it is this. So I'm going to place down the units that I want to get Invig. Here, I'm going to place down Arrogance. I'm going to place down Dolores. She will cover 4 ground units and 2 kind of platform units. I'm going to place her down like this. I am going to place our next DPS, which will be Lust. Lust I will be placing right here because I want her to cover every Nightmare unit, but I also want Dolores to cover most of the Nightmare units, so that is important too. We're going to put Invig on both of them. And then now we are going to be putting down our Zillatu like this, facing up. You can face her left if you would like, but I will be facing her up. Then I'm going to be placing Torador to get Invig on her. And then I'm going to be placing Salazar and then Pharisee and getting Invig on them. Then you can see that Dolores is still covering this tile, so we can put Twin Fiend, and then I can put Nazim over here. And then Elowin is covering literally everyone, Pharisee is covering literally everyone, and Dolores is covering everyone who is important for damage. So it's beautiful, honestly. Now, the way I'm going to be doing it is I'm going to be timing Dolores with Twin Fiend ults. It's just the way I get the most damage. You don't have to space anything out. You can just kind of spam. But as you can see here with the Death Saw, this is what Nazim is for. You click the alt, and as you can see, every stun he does, which is very often, he's getting that sent out and put kind of back. And then on the top, we're getting the attack down. And you're going to see over and over again that this is going to increase. As you can see, it's at 12. He dies, so I can't show you guys. I will show you on the next rotation. But Nazim is absolutely crazy for this boss. I cannot understate it. Now, I'm also going to be cycling Dolores and Pharisee. You're only going to really see, at least when I'm paying attention, me triggering Pharisee with when Dolores is not there. But we're just going to keep spamming. Otherwise, for the rest of the thing, just doing some light timings here and there when we can. We're just going to try to do the best. This will be a pretty long fight, so definitely stay tuned because there is a lot to kind of teach you guys here. This second phase is the hardest. Every time you wait, he will end up enhancing his damage and also reducing damage taken by the boss. And that is the hardest phase by far because he literally will not take damage at all in later levels. And it's kind of crazy. Now, we do have a lot of awakenings. The awakenings don't really matter that much, I'll be honest, on the healers. Element Basic is good because when these poisons are out, they actually reduce your damage and you won't do as much. So Element's Basic will cleanse them, but generally you have to use your ult anyways, and it doesn't really make that big of a difference. But if you get lucky, her A3 is crazy, but her A5 does not matter. Her A1 really doesn't do that much, although it is recommended. And all of that stuff. So we're going to wait until we get about 2 ticks down. So as you can see, it was sent out twice. We're going to Element ult. And then we're going to try to kill it as soon as we can. For obvious reasons, because we want it dead. But also so that we don't get any more poison put on us. Because once again, it restricts our damage quite a bit. Now we're going to keep cycling Twin Fiend and Salazar. Now we're getting back to where Nazim absolutely shines. Keep in mind he is in morale. So he's just going to be boosting the team anyways. But we're going to wait until that ability once again. And you're going to see how we take almost no damage. Now, at the end, I will definitely show you guys a run where I don't use any stunners. And I'll show you guys the massive difference that it does. And you'll definitely see why Nazim is so important. Now, we're going to be running with this. And we're going to be triggering Nazim right here. And boom, boom. Attack going down over and over and over again, and he can't ult, so we're definitely getting a lot more damage out. And as you can see, 96% less damage. He's doing almost no damage, as you can see, and it's ridiculous. Look, we take no damage here. Look at this damage. Look at this damage. So look at what I'm seeing. Bonk. We're getting hit with. Let me see quickly. Please show it. We're getting hit with about 12k is what it shows. And 12k sounds like a lot, but when you're going through this fight, even now, before he really ramps up, where to the point where you literally can't live, he will do like 30 to 50k if you don't do that. And it's crazy. You take so much damage. I was sitting here for hours and hours trying to figure out what I could do. I brought like Mari, I brought stuff like Hex and Abomination, and I brought like 3 stunners that all did damage, trying to maximize it. But it turns out Nazim just will solo that entire section, and it's ridiculous. That becomes by far the easiest section so easily. If you don't use any Nazim though, it's one of the hardest ones. If you're using the Carnelian strategy, doesn't really matter, then that becomes one of the hardest ones, just because you have to time her ult pretty well, and it becomes very difficult. You have to have really good builds. But like I said, Nazim just makes it so easy, and even if you don't have these heroes, you'll still get a better score because of it if you're struggling on that phase. Now, we're just going to keep it up here. I'm going to wait on Salazar ult so that we get Dolores. Dolores is very, very important and definitely a worthwhile addition because the boss has a ton of defense. It's ridiculous because Guild Boss in 1, generally you want to build, also keep in mind every second time it comes out we use the ult. But on Guild Boss 1, you want to build more crit damage because the boss has very low defense. But in this, the boss has very high defense. And as you can see there, Torador keeps getting hit. Whenever the boss does a thing with his hand where he hits the battlefield, a single rock is going to come down and do a ridiculous amount of damage. And it's only going to affect the person that you have that has the most HP. So that's why you want to bring a tank. And Torador obviously is the best tank. That's why everyone uses Nightmare Comps in the top level. Because Torador does so much and you can have 3 DPS in the faction. And it's really, really strong. So keep that in mind that you always want to have that. You could run Wrath too, but then you have to bring someone tanky. Like Abomination could work. He does some extra damage and some extra stuns. But does it really matter? Not really. Just use whatever you got. Now we're going to keep doing with this, and we're already at 37k. I don't know why I said 67. As you could tell, I'm always sleep deprived as hell. I forgot to use Nazim here, but as you can see, Torador luckily got a bunch of stuns out. See how much damage that is? 30k. Yes, he's getting stronger, but it's such a big difference compared to when you're using Nazim. Like, look at this. Everyone's almost dead. And that's purely because I slipped up and didn't use Nazim ult. That's it. Like, using Nazim ult here, the boss hypothetically should be stronger because this phase has been going longer. If we get hit by it, we're going to take less damage. We're not going to get to show it, but you'll see it the next time around because we will definitely survive. You'll see the next time around that we're not going to take as much damage as that right there. And it's going to be so funny. Nazim is just so good. I'll hype him up until the end of time, man. Here we're on the second phase. The second phase gets really hard really fast, so you want to have a lot of burst damage at the beginning. Sometimes it's okay to just not do your burst at the beginning on the phase we just had in order to maximize your damage there. Here we're going to just trigger Pharisee immediately. Trigger Salazar ult, as you can see, trying to do as much damage as we can. Once again, Praetus and Silas essentially just invalidate this entire phase. You still will lose on it, even if you have Praetus and Silas on your team, because you're using Yovar and Praetus, you're still going to lose to it later on, because once again, Carnelian and Eloin will deal with the other phases effortlessly, although it'll be very tense, and it'll look like you're about to lose. Just keep that in mind. Just know that those people will essentially make the other phases pretty easy, which is why every top team uses them, because it's almost impossible to run a team without Eloin, Pharisee, Carnelian. You know how it is. But we're about to kill this this section, as you can see. I'm going to try to remember not to ult with the other person, aka Nazim. It's really hard to live commentate. Every one of my guides is live commentated, and I have a stroke every single time. It's so bad. I can't I can't focus sometimes. Hope you guys understand. But we're already at 50k. We're already top like 50 in the world or something crazy like that. It's a really hard stage. I should have cleansed already, but luckily, as you can see, I'm able to not do it because Eloin got a bunch of cleanses off. So generally you would want to use it both times, and Torador just died, unfortunately. But here I'm going to wait. Actually, no, I'm gonna click it. I'm having a stroke. I'm not fully paying attention because I'm trying to be entertaining, but it's like it's falling apart as I go. Every single time, it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's going on and on. But luckily, we killed it there. Torador hopefully won't die. I'm really hoping he doesn't. And please don't die. Elemental. There we go. Everything's cleansed. And now we actually have Nazim ult for the part where we're literally using Nazim for. This is the whole point why he is here. Torador just died, which is really bad because now Salazar is going to get targeted by that. But as you can see, Nazim right here going to do this. And you will see that the damage we got taken, or the damage we were dealt, is now going to essentially be nothing. Remember that Dolores died last time, and we took about 30 to 50k. As you can see, 20k there, 20k there. We survived the entire thing. No longer even a phase of the fight. It's just invalid. Doesn't matter. We're more worried about the random hits in between than we are about this part, because it's just too easy. As you can see, we kill him easily, and we struggled more on the one before where I didn't immediately use Nazim. So if you connect the dots, it makes a lot of sense. We're already at about 70k. My record for this team is about 77. So unfortunately, I wasn't really able to get an insane score above 88. I mean, above 80k, like you have to get your second highest chest. So it's not the ideal best, but it is very close to the peak. We are going to struggle a lot here. You saw in the other one, we beat it with about a minute left. Sure, my ults were not kind of optimal, but you're definitely going to see us lose here. Torador is going to get his unyielding triggered. I think if I get a better set for him, maybe he'll live, but generally you're going to struggle anyways. Once again, another phase where Carnelian is so helpful, because Carnelian will just continue to dish out the unyieldings and keep you alive indefinitely, essentially. While here, we're just struggling to stay alive, because soon he's going to start hitting for AoE damage that is beyond our control. As you can see, Torador's dead now, everyone's dying, and we are about to lose, but we are, you know, around 85k. My PV is about 15% left on the boss, which I will be definitely aiming for here, but it's not looking pretty. We're starting to die here. He's going to put more shields, and then more shields equals more damage taken. It's just such a pain. We're about to die here, undoubtedly. Salazar is now dead. We're at like a new, not a new record because my damage is a bit lower overall, but as you can see, freaking dead and dead and dead, and then 12%, and we lose, and there's nothing I can do about it. We're about to die here, bonk, and dead. So that's just how the stage goes. I might need to revisit my Torador build. I've been able to get 78k using this strategy. Definitely a very fun stage. Almost a second chest, which is not terrible considering I'm using off meta. Very, very off meta. But all things considered, for a whale account of this magnitude, it should be doing better. Zilla2, the MVP here. I do not recommend it over other teams because Yovar and Silas alone will both do about the same as Zilla2 if you have good gear. But, I mean, this is what I have. Right? Salazar is very good for this. Arrogance very good for this. Lus is very good for this. And yeah, so that is the team. I hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit of a longer video, but that's what all of these kind of teams are going to be looking like. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. Nazim, do not underestimate Nazim. He is ridiculous. Keep in mind, he's also has this set on because he doesn't need anything else. So he's able to buff the team, so we wouldn't be getting that much damage out without morale. And he's just so good. For lower teams, he's going to help a ton. On my main, I'm currently trying to max him. I'm maxing him before maxing Uridan for Guild. I'm maxing him before Pharisee, even though Pharisee is more important with the stage. Just because genuinely, he's so important. I'm not sure if there's any top 100 teams using him if we go through, because I don't think he's really been discovered yet or needed. Like, people are using Mari. Don't use Mari. Use Nazim. He makes it so easy. Like, I could see a lot of teams getting better. These two teams are running him. This team is running him. This team is running him. He will become the lower meta. Not if you have Carnelian. If you have Carnelian, don't use him. Use other things. But outside of Carnelian, he's going to help you a ton. Also, just to flex, what is the second highest Twin Fiend team? As you can see, the highest Infernal team, sorry, is this one by this guy, and he is running Solkadins and Hex, who has the exclusive clearly, and they aren't running Zilla 2, even though Zilla 2 is very, very good. Hex, like I said, has the exclusive. And then we're looking down. Every single team is a Nightmare team, because Nightmare, once again, is the best. We have this one, which is kind of cool. They're running a Piercer team that also has Zilla 2 for some reason. That's kind of interesting. We have a Twin Fiend team, which is a bit higher than mine, but he is also running Praetus. We have Win, who's very, very good at the game, although he should be able to hit a 120k. I don't know why he's not able to. Maybe he just didn't put that much time into it. Cashman can definitely get 120k, but he was telling me that his Pharisee doesn't have skills, so that's why he can't do it. We're having another Infernal team, but not Twin Fiend. You know, we keep going. Infernal team, no Twin Fiend. We have some Chaotic teams, which are kind of interesting. Valdi does decent damage, I guess. Falcia is kind of crazy here. How is she doing so much? That's impressive as hell. Once again, this is the highest Infernal team with Twin Fiend that doesn't use Praetus. And it's an old guildmate of mine. I might need to revisit Silas to kind of bump up my score instead of Infernal. But the fact that my Infernal team is higher, it makes me really happy. But yeah, so that's everything I want to show you guys. Pretty cool display of both a cool team, pretty big whale team, but a cool team nonetheless. And also a display of Nazim, who is the third best epic for this stage, undeniably. The only reason why I put Medan higher is because she's more essential, but for more late game when you have Eloin, Nazim is obviously better. But you're going to use Medan in the first phase, even if you have a cleanser for the second one, like the Somi works. But Medan is the most accessible cleanser in the game, so I do consider her more important. But yeah, that's everything I had to talk about. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you a bunch. If you would like to like and subscribe, helps out a ton. But I guarantee only a total of 5 people made it this far. So yeah. Anyways, see you guys. Thank you guys. And bye. Destined signing out.